Hey, this is Ryan Phillips here. We recently concluded the Southern Nevada Qualifier yesterday. It was a very exciting tournament as I was expecting it to be. A very fun tournament. It's always competitive when the slot for the Southern Nevada Qualifier is at stake, and I know we've beaten Reno the last several years in the well, both in the head-to-head match and then also for the state championship. So I was very eager to try to try to win this tournament. Obviously, I mean I've kind of been competing for this spot for a lot of years, and I actually had an opportunity to do so in this tournament. So I was happy that I put myself in a position to do so, even though the odds were stacked pretty strongly against me. So basically, going into the final round, both Tom Brownscombe and David Lucky had 3.5 points, whereas I had 3 points. Um, I was playing black against David Lucky, so I would need to win the game in order to surpass him. Any other result, and Lucky would have more points than me. And then not only did I need to win, I also needed for Glenn Bedari, who was playing Tom Brownscombe. Glenn had the white pieces. I needed for him to at least draw so I get a share of the title. Or if Glenn won and I won, I actually would have finished in clear first. But obviously, I knew it was going to be really tough since beating David Lucky with black is no easy task. But irregardless, I guess Ed says that's not a word. Regardless of that, excuse me. Regardless of that, I was really amped up because if you have a chance to win the tournament, even if it's a small one, that's exciting news. So this was really one of the most fun games I've probably ever played. I'm getting very used to kind of playing these pressure situations in the last round, and I think I'm starting to handle it well, handle it better. Against Todd Amata in the National Open, we had a kind of important game for some money on the line. And then at the Mind Sports International Tournament, I had a last round battle with Virgil, which was important for the standings. Even though I didn't play particularly well in that game, I feel like just getting this experience of playing in important games is really helping me out a lot. And in this game, even though it was a losing effort, I don't really think I have anything to be ashamed of. I think I played it pretty well. Um, and obviously no shame losing to David. Of course, I want to improve to the point where I could beat players like him. Um, but I think this game was a step in the right direction. I'm not going to make too many more of these videos. I noticed my viewership is kind of dwindling, which is understandable. I know people have kind of a busy life, and I think one of the main reasons why I was making these videos was just to help other people out, and also it was helping me out quite a bit, of course, as well. But if the viewership's kind of going down, it's just it's kind of time consuming for me as well, and I don't really I don't see the need to make a video of all my games anymore. I don't think, although it is kind of a nice record. In the past, I haven't really had a good record of all my games, just because I would kind of get lazy with the score sheets, or I wouldn't save them to my database or whatever. So at least with this, I have a nice record of all my games, which is a definite benefit and something I'll miss if I don't make a video all the time. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just kind of getting time consuming, and if Jonathan Zavala got like 65 views or something for his first video, made me a little jealous, and it felt like 60 million views to me. I thought his video was like Gangnam Style, and mine was like I don't know, some really crummy song, because everyone knows Gangnam Style is really awesome. But anyway, onto the game. So David opted with knight f3, and I remember reading in a book that this is basically the grandmaster move if you want at least a draw. So I thought from a game theory perspective, maybe this was a solid choice, since I guess David's first goal was not to lose the game, of course, but he also needs to reserve some winning chances just in case Tom won, which Tom ended up winning with black. Um, so he needed to keep the pressure on the board just to, in case he needed to win the game to win the tournament. Because if Tom lost his game, then a draw would have been sufficient for David to take clear first. So I played knight f6, d4, g6. So this is all very common. I don't know if David was trying to avoid the Budapest opening or what, there's a lot of funny things that could occur with d4 and c4. So maybe thought knight f3 just kept things calm, but I fully intended to play the Grunfeld in this game, no matter if I had the opportunity to do so. So c4, bishop g7, knight c3, d5. So this is kind of I believe this is the classical version of the Grunfeld. I'm not exactly sure what the name is with the knight on f3 here already. Last time I played David, he played bishop g5, and he also went on to win that game, but it was very tough. I think I actually had a draw a drawn endgame. It was I had a bishop pawn on the 7th rank, and my king right behind it versus a queen. And I didn't know the stalemating trick of just putting the king in the corner, which I could have done, and it's an easy draw because if the queen takes the pawn, the king's out of moves. Hopefully you can visualize that here. But anyway, I had a draw in that line, so maybe David didn't find any improvements in that line, so he wanted to do something different. So he played bishop f4. And I must admit I'm not familiar with this line. I know I'm always, whenever I see this bishop f4 idea, I'm always worried about like a move like knight b5 hitting this c7 pawn. But every time I look at that kind of idea with the computer always shows it being a bad idea. So I wasn't like overly concerned with it, any kind of knight b5 ideas. And knight d5 obviously I don't have to worry about because I could just always snatch the knight with my knight on f6. But yeah, anyway, a lot of the time actually, kind of help you guys out. If the king is castled and the knight hops into c7, if black plays knight h5, I could actually give up the rook, grab his bishop, and then the knight is trapped here. So I end up getting 2 pieces for the rook. So that line that's very good for black. So as long as you get castled, you can even allow the knight to get into c7, and as long as you could chop this bishop off, which you can after knight h5, the bishop has nowhere to go where you can't capture it. So after the knight captures your rook and you take the bishop, the knight's trapped over there, so you get 2 pieces for the rook. And it's even more devastating than that because white really utilized a lot of tempo to do that. I mean, they moved the bishop once, the knight 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So that's 5 tempos for a piece that's never moved. And knight h5 is by no means a bad square for this knight, as it opens up the bishop diagonal for me also. So it's really not something you have to be too concerned with. Anyway, though, I played the lesser known move here. I guess the main move is castle, which I'll probably play in the future. But I went with d takes c4, just getting a pawn and kind of going for the Grunfeld setup of allowing your opponent to occupy the center, but you're going to counterattack against the center. So here David played e4, which is main line against this variation. And here I probably played a little too chicken. I played castle, maybe c5 immediately was better. I didn't really want to allow any like queen a4 check ideas or anything like that, I guess, which maybe I was too fearful of that. But anyway, I thought castle was a reasonable move here, just get my king to safety. And then here David played bishop takes c4. Alright, so in this position, I'm definitely trusting in the Grunfeld attacking the center principle because basically David has the perfect setup with the 2 central pawns, the knight at f3, c3, bishop on c4 and f4. This is the classical, this is like the best arrangement of your pieces that you could ask for. But I was confident that I could attack this setup and attack the center, and I would have I thought I could create a double-edged position in this game, which I think my assessment was okay. So I played c5, just attacking the center immediately. If I don't attack the center immediately, I think white just has an easy build-up, and it might be too late for black to kind of strike back at that point. So David played d5. And here I went with a thematic idea, but maybe not the best in the position. Ripka doesn't like this move particularly, but I played queen a5. And the idea is just to, I'm threatening to take the e-pawn now with knight takes e4. But of course, David can get out of this threat by just castling, which is something he wants to do anyway. So maybe queen a5 is not that great of an idea. I thought maybe I could put like rook d8 and knight c6, but I think this plan in retrospect is too slow. So queen a5 is maybe a slight inaccuracy, and David's position is preferable at this stage in the game, but I wasn't too pessimistic by any means at this point in the game. So castle, I played bishop g4 here, and here the computer was also, I was curious about this queen b3 move, so this was not played in the game. I'm just kind of curious what might happen in this variation. And I guess at e5 I have time to attack the queen with a rook, and that gets me out of any trouble. So this is one possible variation. This looks fine for, I'd say this looks fine for black though. I mean, white has a small advantage, but nothing too substantial. So I would have been happy, I think, in this variation. And then I think this move also would run into rook fb8 here. Is that not playable here? Okay, never mind. The pawn's on e5. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Chess blindness. But I guess knight b6 holds the position. All right. So anyway, there's not too much to be worried about in this line, I don't think, for black. Anyway, though, David played what I was expecting to play. He played h3, and then I took, and then he took with the queen. And then here we kind of have a very standard kind of queen's pawn position. So basically, I've given up the light squared bishop, but I'm trying to get a knight onto e5 and hit the queen on f3 and the bishop on c4 at the same time. And I'm hoping to at least get back one of the bishops, whether it be the dark squared bishop or the light squared bishop. So I played knight b to d7 here. And then here the computer shows d6, which is a move I didn't really consider too strongly. Even here, I'm not too sure. I guess the idea is to open up the d5 square maybe for the knight. But I think I would have just taken. I'm not sure why this is so terrible. There must be some kind of tactic here. I don't... Yeah, I mean, this would have been a nice little combination. The idea is if I take here on f7, queen takes b7 with check and winning the rook. So this would have been a nice combination if David would have found this. But even here after king h8, I don't know, I have to believe that I have to believe I have some fighting chances in this position. I mean, it's opposite colored bishops, I'm down a pawn, but I think my pieces are they're pretty active, I would say, in this position. So, but anyway, this would have been a pretty nice nice combination for David to see. So anyway, so he didn't play d6. The fact that he can play a move like d6, though, maybe my opening was kind of poor, but I don't know. I felt like my opening was fine. This is just this would have been a nice combination to find. Anyway, David played queen e2 here, and here I played knight b6 after a little bit of thought, just hitting the bishop here. And then David played e5, which I think in the corner computer is a bit of a mistake. The move here is actually queen b4, which is a very hard move to find. Basically, after queen b4, you might be thinking that this move doesn't make any sense because take, and then I take, and then I'm just, at the end, I'm going to lose my bishop. But actually, I can take here. So I'm temporarily down a piece, but there's no way for white to save either this bishop on c4, the bishop on f4, or the knight on c3. So for example, we see b3, then I just actually probably would take with the queen here, I believe. And I guess maybe bishop h6. I don't know if that's an idea. And actually in this position, the computer shows black having the advantage, even though I'm down the exchange, which is interesting. How many pawns do I have for the exchange? I have one pawn. Yes, I have one pawn. I'm going to grab a second pawn. So I wonder here. Okay, knight d2. Okay, so obviously let's see this move. Oh, never mind. Let's look at this move. I think here I could just take also. And then I'm skewering the two rooks here, so I'm going to pick back up my exchange. Oh no, okay, can't just give up a whole rook. And I guess I'm up 2 pawns here, and that should be enough to win. So this was the variation I could have gone into. But I ended up just playing knight f to d7 here, so probably maybe missed an opportunity to kind of equalize right here. And then here David played bishop b5. And then in this position I strongly considered queen b4. But for some reason I talked myself out of it. I'm not sure what variation I saw that I didn't like exactly. I spent a really long time trying to make this knight takes d5. Yeah, I'm not sure what I was thinking with knight takes d5. Why I was trying so hard to make this line work. Um, I guess I didn't notice the queen was protecting the bishop or something. I don't know what I was thinking. And then anyway, though, I saw that even if the queen wasn't protecting the bishop after this move, which of course I can't play, just knight c7 force the queen and the rook here anyway. If the queen wasn't protecting, but obviously the queen is. So after this, the queen just takes, of course. So anyway, so there's no kind of tactics with knight takes d5, unfortunately. But I did consider queen to b4 here, and I don't know why. I think after I just saw that the after bishop g3, I saw the queen on e2 was guarding the b2 square, and I figured that this didn't really accomplish too much. But I guess in retrospect, this was probably a slightly better move than what I played, which was a6. And I really didn't want to play a6. I knew this, it kind of felt just slightly inaccurate. I know it's like, it felt like a natural move to play, but there's something about it that didn't feel right. And I think I definitely feel like I'm getting better because my intuition seems a lot better. Just my feel for the position is getting better. But anyway, I opted for a6. I thought about rook a d8 for a little bit, and I just couldn't kind of calculate anything concrete. So I went with a3. So take and take. And here David has this really nice move e6, which I didn't think was as strong as it was. I thought I calculated this move, of course. I was just expecting take. But at the end of this variation, he basically just wins a pawn, and I think this is probably sufficient to maybe win the game. I don't know. Maybe I could hold him off though. I don't know. I wonder why taking here, and I guess the f2 square is very hard to protect. So I don't know, but I think I underestimated how strong e6 was, as did David. So he kind of kept the tension in this position, David, with maybe a little bit of a lazy move here. I thought too automatic. I played rook fe1, maybe trying to make e6 a stronger threat at some point. But here I finally played queen b4, which was the right idea, I believe. And then David played bishop g3. And here I started to feel like my prospects were good. I found this. So this move queen b4 wasn't just like a move by itself. I wouldn't have just made this move to move the bishop, because I didn't think the bishop was particularly well placed on f4 anyway. But basically my idea was to play queen b4, c4, knight c5, knight d3, which I thought was a really very realizable plan. And so I thought it was an option that made a lot of sense. And also I liked having the queen on this diagonal where it could kind of help out the e7 pawn after the knight comes to d3. So I thought it was a very good plan that I came up with here. So queen b4, bishop g3, c4. And then here's the plan is obviously just to get the knight into c5. So any kind of ideas like e6 aren't as strong right now because I just play knight c5. And if he takes, I take. And without a light squared bishop, I don't really have to worry about any of these pins. So my position here is perfectly fine. And then after a move like d6, you can really see the point of the queen being on this nice diagonal. And the computer actually shows knight d5. In which case, I wonder why I can't. Yeah, queen takes b2. And then pair this is pretty even position. So anyway, so after c4, David played rook a to d1, and then I played knight c5. And then here d6, I wasn't particularly worried about this move either. I was just, I think knight to d3 might be okay. Or you can just take. I don't think it's, I don't know. I guess after this move, which wasn't played in the game, I guess e6 is the best move just to keep the knight at d5. And then in this position, I think I should be okay. Although white has a slight advantage still. So anyway, though, David played rook d4. And then here I almost made the huge blunder of knight d3. I was going to play this move, and then the very last second I realized it was just losing. After knight d3, David has this nice tactic, queen takes d3. And if I take, my queen will be lost, so I'll just have dropped the whole piece, and this obviously would be terrible for me. So luckily I found this idea with b5, just protecting the c4 square. And it was kind of nice for me that David doesn't really have any b3 ideas because I just grab his knight on c3. So it's really hard for him to kind of dislodge this nice pawn chain I have. So basically we're in a typical Grunfeld position. It's basically my opponent has a center and I have kind of a wing attack going. And this knight d3 outpost, which I'm eventually going to be able to play, this is just a fantastic knight here. So I probably shouldn't have lost this game, but David is David, and I have a lot to learn still. So he played rook e to d1, and I guess his idea is just to push this d pawn forward. So here I play the computer's recommendation of knight a5, which is really the only square the queen could go to if I want to put the knight onto d3, which is where the knight belongs. So I played queen a5. And then here the computer recommends a3, which is what David played, and I'm still not exactly sure what the idea behind this a3 move is. I guess he's worried maybe about me playing b4. So I guess I could see that might be the reason for a3, just to stop this idea, because maybe maybe I can create a passed pawn here with c3. Maybe b4, c3 is a plan. So I guess a3 might be necessary here, but it didn't feel like this move was that necessary to me, but maybe I underestimated it, the importance of this move. So after a3, I played knight d3 here, and in this position I was perfectly content. I thought now with this knight centralized, disconnecting the rooks from each other, I thought I didn't have to really worry about these pawns as much. I mean, they're still obviously a threat, something I have to be aware of the whole game. But I was really starting to like my position quite a bit. And the computer actually shows that just giving up one of the rooks for the knight is the best way to play here. And I remember something Kasparov said. He said like a knight supported on the 6th rank is equal to a rook. So I guess the computer would support that assessment in this position. So here David played king h2, which I didn't fully understand. I believe in retrospect, or no, not in retrospect. What I thought during the game was he wants to play f4 at some point, and he just wanted to get the king off this diagonal. But I didn't. I mean, this is just probably a move that's beyond my understanding of the game of chess. So I want to think about this move more now in the next couple of days and kind of see what my thoughts are on it. But I thought the king was actually well placed on g1 because I thought I might have some attacks on this f2 pawn at some point, and I thought the king was actually a useful defender of this square. So king h2 I didn't particularly like, but it did have a nice psychological effect because I couldn't come up with a plan in this position. It took me about 10 minutes to make a move here, which is way too long because there's no reason for me to be playing so slowly. After king h2, David had about 36 minutes on the clock and I had about 35. And then after this king h2 move, he got about 11-minute advantage on the clock, which was really unnecessary for me to give him that advantage. I kind of froze here. I didn't know what to do. My first instinct was to play queen b6 and go for like an a5 b4 idea, which maybe would have been a good plan in retrospect. But for some reason I went this move rook a to c8, which computer doesn't criticize too much, and but I don't really like it. There's no plan to it. The only plan I had was I was hoping to get my queenside pawns rolling, and I thought the rook on c8 could be supporting maybe like a passed pawn on the c file. But I think that was maybe too optimistic of an opinion in the position. And then also, as you'll see later, actually this rook on c8 and the king on g8 actually invites some nice little tactics on this e7 square if the knight can get to d5 at some point, which it did. So anyway, so here we saw David played rook e4. And right when David played rook e4, Glenn had resigned his game against Tom Brownscombe, which meant that I couldn't win the tournament anymore. So at this point I was pretty disheartened, and I think it definitely, I mean, it might sound like a flimsy excuse for what happened going forward, but I think it's honestly just the truth. I felt kind of disheartened, and I just wanted to mix it up, and not that saying that I just wanted to play totally recklessly, but I felt a little bit more ease to, play more aggressively just because I realized I couldn't win the tournament anymore. But not that what I played I think was even that bad in retrospect. I went with f5 here. And f5 is kind of a nice move here. He's basically forced to take en passant. Any other move just is totally losing. So I think f5 is fine, but it makes it it makes it tough for black to play practically, I'd say, after this. So he takes, which is basically forced, and then I took back with the bishop. And then I saw this d6 move, which I thought was a pain. And after this, I thought I was probably in some trouble. But according to the computer, I'm perfectly fine. So take, and then we saw knight d5. I was really hoping for bishop takes here. I was planning on playing knight takes f2 in this position. But apparently this does not win. This runs into rook f4. Alright, I missed rook f4. But what I was hoping for, of course, was queen takes. And then I have this nice move, bishop e5 check. And I'm going to win back some material. But anyway, David did not play this. He played knight d5, which is the best move. And then here I found the best move. I thought queen d8 was maybe a mistake, but apparently it's not according to the computer. And then here David played rook e6. And actually blundered here and lost the game. This move, bishop e5, holds, though, in all variations. I was pretty surprised about this. Basically, the idea is if he plays check here, I just have this king f7 move. And if he takes, I can just take the rook on e6. And if he plays rook takes e5, this move is winning here. Or not, no, not winning, but this move gives black a small advantage. So yeah, I'm actually perfectly fine here. After bishop e5, my position's good. So say we see f4. Then I could take. I don't know what's better, but okay, so say here. And according to this is actually, I would say it looks very unpleasant for black here in my opinion. But apparently according to the computer I could hold this position still. So all the pawns are equal. These rooks, I mean the rooks they look well coordinated, but I guess on the 6th rank they're not nearly as devastating if they were on the 7th rank, for example. And I guess after a move like rook f7, it looks like my position actually holds here. Albeit it does look tougher for me to play. Queen e4. I wonder if I can just trade off. Can I trade off the queens here? I don't know. I'm curious if I can hold this position, but maybe this is. I don't know. Maybe I think I might be able to hold this. I don't know. So this would be interesting if I'm able to hold this position or not. I'm not sure. But anyway, this queen f4 idea isn't the best move in the position anyway. So according to the computer, this would be a drawn position here. Okay, so anyway though, I made the immediately losing move of knight e5, and David found a pretty nice combination with knight takes f6, rook takes, and then he played rook takes e5, and I resigned here. So this was a pretty nice combination, utilizing the pin on the d file, and I saw the pin on the d file. After I moved the knight, I saw all that. I just I think I missed rook takes here. The only move I looked at in this position was I looked at bishop takes, and I thought I had rook takes here, and I thought it was fine. So I missed rook takes e5 here, unfortunately. And also I can't really play rook c6 here. Let's go back one move. I can't play rook c6. Just knight takes f6 wins on the spot. So I take. He has rook e8 check, winning the queen. So yeah, I was too infatuated with. I was worried about losing the exchange, but apparently I don't even have to worry about that because I can come and hit the rook. So yeah, I think I'm gonna learn a lot from this game. Though I tend to panic too much when I get kind of in tough positions. And I think I just need to more relax. When I feel like a little bit of pressure from my opponent, I can't just kind of buckle down like this and just kind of give up. I think if I would have played reasonable moves, I would have been perfectly fine here. And yeah, with the knight on d3, I don't have to worry about anything along the d file right now. And then this king f7 is just a very nice resource. So anytime he takes here, just take here, and the knight's, I don't know if the knight can really escape. Yeah, so yeah, I think I have a lot to be proud of in this game. Though I felt like I fought pretty hard, and I think I gave David a good game. Um, I think I need to kind of shore up my openings a little bit against Queen Pawn. I don't know. I don't think I have like the Grunfeld quite mastered yet. It's really a funny story of how I even even took up the Grunfeld. I was playing in a tournament. I think it was like the National Open, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And during the game, I just said, "What the hell? I'm going to play the Grunfeld," not even knowing what the hell I was doing. And I just really liked the way the game went. I felt like all my pieces got good squares and everything felt well coordinated. So after that, I just kind of stuck with it. Um, but yeah, I think there's still like a lot I could learn about this opening. But anyway, David was gracious in victory, and we went over the game a little bit, and he showed me another one of his games, which he was proud of. He thought he played a good game, and yeah, I thought it was a fun. I thought it was a good experience for me. I think this is only going to help me moving forward, and I think the next couple of years, I think I have a bright kind of chess future coming up. I think I'm starting to get the hang of what's going on a little bit more, and I think the thing that I'm optimistic about the most is I feel like the weaknesses in my game I'm pretty aware of now, and I don't think they're incredibly difficult to correct. So I think depending on how much time I want to put into chess, I think I could really improve a lot in the near future. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. Like I said, I'm not going to be making too many more of these videos. I don't think. Just I don't know, they're getting kind of time consuming. But I appreciate everyone who does watch them, and hope you enjoyed this video. This is Ryan Phillips signing off, and another Southern Nevada Qualifier in the books. And I'm hoping next year I could maybe come in first place and take home the trophy. All right, thank you very much.